So this is a fun one, unless you're from the UK and you've got a UK passport and you're trying to travel to the EU. Fingerprint and face checks at EU borders to take British travellers up to 4 times longer. European nations have warned that new fingerprint and face checks on arrival in the EU could take up to 4 times longer than the present system, with the processing time increased by up to 2 minutes per person. Yay! The tougher border checks, known as the Entry-Exit System (EES), are due to come into effect in May 2023, just ahead of peak summer. I would not be surprised if the system got delayed again. Deploying it in peak summer seems like a really bad idea, but we'll see what happens. The airports and ports will be a nightmare for Brits, that's for sure. It's already pretty bad now, and of course it'll be a nightmare for every other third country that don't have freedom of movement. The UK helped develop the EES system whilst part of the European Union, then with the Brexit withdrawal agreement asked to become subject to the new laws. It's going to be ironic seeing Brexiteers moan about the queues, but this is what they really voted for. The EU can deal with third country members as they want, as long as it's within the realms of international law, but the framing here is beautiful. I can't lie, The Independent did really well here. From next summer, each time a third country national crosses an EU external border, fingerprints and facial biometrics must be used. This will help document people entering the EU, making sure to help with people who might try and overstay their visas. Warning from individual governments appear in a paper published by the General Secretariat of the Council in Brussels. The Slovenian government modelled the effects of the EES and reported it takes up to 4 times longer to do the new process, border check plus enrolment plus verification. Austria's authorities said we expect the process time to double compared to the current situation. Poland's government estimates the time for border checks of a single passenger will increase by 30 to 120 seconds, but only in the case of so-called happy flow. Happy flow refers to the smooth progress of properly documented travellers through the frontier post. Officials in Warsaw warn the time indicated above does not take into account cases requiring additional activities such as identity management. Croatia predicts the time for border checks will certainly be significantly longer. Finland is preparing for a significant increase of workload at the beginning because the process will change so much from the passenger's point of view. And this is the most fun one. France says it will use new technology at airports, will set up so-called self-service systems, kiosks supervised remotely via video by means of a border guard. So the French one might be the most interesting given the really bad build-ups at Dover. These checks will do a lot more than deal with tourists. Hauliers, a lot more than tourists. Hauliers will suffer the most from it, most likely. I just find the idea that, some French dude is, if I go to France, for example, some French dude is going to be moaning at me for not doing things properly. That would be fun. Last month, Doug Bannister, chief executive of the Port of Dover, told MPs, "We haven't seen what the process is, we don't know what the technology is." He warned the Transport Select Committee that checkpoint times for motorists leaving the UK could increase sevenfold, and we've already seen nightmare scenarios during the year. The EU does not have to show us the new tech. It would be better if they did, so at least people can be warned how it's going to actually work. But for now, at least, we're not sure. I think it's up to EU member states to figure out the exact implementation of their system. I think at Dover, they're going to use a lot of tablets to record all the details of people's details. What we have heard is that it could be 2 minutes per person to register, plus 2 minutes for the car. So that could be 10 minutes for a car full of 4 people. That's a real nightmare. I think on average, a car is checked within about 2 to 4 minutes for the Dover port. For 10 minutes, that's wild. The French did advise the UK to expand the Port of Dover checkpoint, but the geniuses in charge told them to go eat frogs. So, a joke. But they did tell them effectively to get lost. Again, the UK was involved in the early stages of the planning, but after the Brexit vote, asked to become subject of the new requirements. Again, beautiful framing here. This kind of reminds me of the UK as an EU member wanting to ban unpurified shellfish from third countries, and then that law coming back to haunt us. I don't know how much the UK pushed for this system, but boy, are we going to see people moan about this. Can't wait, because I don't intend on travelling anywhere soon. But yeah, this is a nightmare. It's going to be an absolute nightmare for people travelling on holiday or for work, especially for hauliers. They're the ones I feel the most sorry for. They already have a rough time because of this. It's going to get worse. But anyways, I'm going to leave it there. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Support the channel on Patreon if you can. And hopefully I'll see you in the next one.